The following information is from a naturopathic point of view. All information and views are intended for educational and informational purposes and do not replace the advice or care from your healthcare team. This is Tea Time with Dr. Danni, conversations for navigating holistic medicine and wellness. With your host, Dr. Danni, we provide a fun and insightful look at health and wellness with clear and concise information, helping you to make educated and empowered decisions about your healthcare options and your health. Now, here's your host, Dr. Danielle McDuff. Hello, my lovelies. To all of our Tea Timers, welcome back. And if this is your first time, we're so glad to have you here. This is Season 1 and Episode 5 of Tea Time with Dr. Danni. I'm your host, Dr. Danni. This show is the next in our series on curating your health and wellness team as we go in depth about a certified health coach with certified health coach Angela Nespeca. This episode, we will talk about the process of working with a health coach, some of the misconceptions about the field, and who would benefit from working with a health coach. So grab your favorite cup of brew and join us in the parlor as we dive into this journey. For our first-time listeners, I am a board-certified naturopathic doctor, direct entry midwife, author, and now podcast host. I've been in natural medicine since 2011, and I began speaking and hosting live workshops on personal wellness and natural medicine that same year. This podcast is all about inspiring and educating our listeners to empower you to take the lead in your own health and wellness journey. Did you know that working with a certified health coach is kind of like working with a personal trainer? These individuals help you work through specific challenges and help you as you reach milestones and overcome roadblocks. Today's guest, certified health coach Angela Nespeca, has been in health and wellness since 1992. She studied food and nutrition at Youngstown State, and after having her children, got back into wellness and became a coach through the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. Today's episode is sponsored by the upcoming collaborative retreat hosted by Dr. Harriet Lemberger-Shore and myself on May 3rd, 2025 at the classroom located at 755 Boardman Canfield Road, Suite C2, bottom floor in Boardman, Ohio, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This retreat will introduce you to the different aspects of collaborative care with breakout sessions on lifestyle medicine and vision setting, naturopathic medicine and nutrition, emotional healing and rebalancing, and the transcendence therapy, followed by activities and a cooking demo. A light breakfast will be provided, as well as lunch following the cooking demonstration. The cost for this retreat is just $65. Registration is open now, but seating is limited. Registration closes on April 25th. Call 330-758-9567 or text Collab Retreat to 234-308-8289 to reserve your seat today. Angela, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us here on Tea Time. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get into this field?
Hi, Dr. Danni. I just want to say thank you very much for having me. I'm so excited to do this with you. Got into health coaching. Well, it started way back in high school when I was on dance line, and my captain was, well, I guess she became anorexic. Our coach was great. She was a little on the strict side, and we had to wear these leotards and we had to wear these fancy little outfits. She wanted to make sure we looked good in them, and she had a habit of coming over and grabbing us by the side and say, "What's this? Gonna hang over your leotard?" And I think, well, I really can't speak for my friend, but I think that just, got into all of our heads. We were nervous. We were nervous to gain weight, and when you're dancing and you're in front of people, you want to look your best, you want to feel your best. We were exercising all the time. And when that happened to her, I was devastated because I thought, wow, this girl's so popular. She has it all together. In my eyes, she was perfect. And if that could, happen to her, I thought, man, that disease can happen to anybody. And I call it a disease because it's all in your, well, it's not all in your mind, but a lot of it is very mental, and you get inside of yourself and you think, oh my gosh, like what, and I was borderline anorexic, so I know how it felt. Like, I'm not thin enough, I have to do this, I have to do that. And it was quite frustrating to see her go through that. And in my eyes, I thought she was perfect. So I didn't know why that would happen to her. So I just started studying all about food and nutrition, and I wanted to know everything. Back in high school, I thought I was going to follow the line of going into food nutrition at YSU, and it was fun and I liked it until my dad got sick. He he had a heart attack, and that was when the Atkins diet was all the rage. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, you have to do the Atkins diet. And I thought, I don't think everybody should be doing the Atkins diet. I knew then that it's not a cookie cutter way of eating. And I didn't think it was going to be good for my dad. Back then, in the 90s, we thought heart attacks were caused by high cholesterol. So I thought eating all the meat and all the things that the Atkins diet wants you to eat, I didn't think that was going to be very good for my dad. Knowing the Atkins diet now, what it is and what it is truly supposed to be, I thought maybe now it could be better for him. But back then, we didn't. You only know what you know when you know it type of thing. So I said, you know what, I might want to change my major. So I studied it. I still kept it on the back burner. But then life happened. I was getting promoted at work. So, well, school could wait. I can always go back to school. And I didn't, and got married, had some kids, perusing the internet, and I was on Facebook, and I was on a Whole Food website. It was Whole Food recipes, and I was like, okay, let me see what I can feed my family. And there was this little circle, and it was the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and I said, well, what is that? Nutrition, kind of up my alley. So I clicked on it, and I said, wow. I said, this was the program that I should have done in the 90s when I was out of high school, because this is exactly what I'm looking for. I can help people this way. So I, as they say, the rest is history. I called them and I said, this is what I want to do. And then I did it.
Excellent. So when did you finish your studies with the Institute?
2017. I started in 2016 and it's a year-long program. So
okay.
I finished in 2017.
Excellent. So you made a really interesting point there about the Atkins diet and not being right for everybody. And we see this with so many of the fad diets. I can't tell you how many times a week I get asked about, what do you think about this diet or that diet? So would you tell our listeners what your approach is to diet? Like, do you ascribe to a particular dietary plan? How does that work for you?
Well, for me, I like eating the Mediterranean way. I don't really call it a diet. It's just more of a lifestyle. What feels good to you? And that's what I tell my clients. Think back to a time when you felt the best, when you felt your best, when you were performing your best. What were you eating? What did that look like for you? Was it when you were a child? Was it when you were at your grandparents' house in the summertime and they had a certain way of eating? How does that look for you? The Mediterranean for me is what works for me. I feel good on that eating plan. But I always tell people, you have to know how you are going to react to certain foods. So if you want to try a diet out, I'm not going to tell them, no, I don't want you to do this. No, it's not like that. You tell me how you are going or what you want to eat. And then I want you to track what you're eating, when you eat it, how you cook it. And then you got to tell me how you feel. You got to write that down. And when you don't write that down, I don't know. So how do you know? You have to be in tune with your body. And that's the only way you're going to get in tune with your body.
That's a great point. I have my clients do a food journal as well, because you cannot manage what you don't track. And it's so easy for us to get into that, well, I'm not doing so bad. But if we actually had to write it down and then went back and looked at it, oh, wow, like I did stop at drive-thru 3 times this week. I didn't realize it was that much. So that's a really good trick. And I think that also is something that anybody trying to get started on their own could incorporate. So what are some of the diet plans that you have seen kind of come and go that really raised red flags for you, and why?
Keto. Keto is the main one that raises some red flags.
And why is that?
Because I don't think people do it right. And I don't think people understand exactly how it got started. The keto diet is designed for diabetics. And people happened on that by accident. Unfortunately, I don't have my information in front of me, but that's how it happened. Someone was going into a diabetic shock, and that's how they started feeding them the keto diet, and no carbs and more fats and more meats and more protein. And it happened on them by accident, like, oh, well, this is how they should be eating. It's not designed to do long term. I don't think people understand that. I also don't think people understand exactly what a keto diet is. It is not just eating all the meat and going to McDonald's and getting the Big Mac without the bun. That is not what that is. You need to do a lot of healthy fats. I don't think people understand what a healthy fat is. Olive oil would be one of the main ones that I'm thinking of, coconut oil. But it's not just eating all the meat and no vegetables and, fruit is bad and fruit has too much sugar and you can't eat that. It's not that. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about the keto diet, and it drives me crazy when someone says, oh, well, my friend started the keto diet and she lost 50 pounds. And okay, well, you're not your friend.
Right.
You are you, and you are unique, and you need to eat for your body and for your unique situation that you have going on.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand, particularly about nutrition, that it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. Really hard to say, well, you need to have this nutrition based on some chart or, the My Plate or what have you, because those are just generalities and they don't look at your specific needs.
Absolutely.
We have to take a quick break, but when we come back, Angela and I are going to talk about how she works with clients and her specific niche. So grab your favorite cup of brew and meet us back here in the parlor. We'll be right back. You're listening to Tea Time with Dr. Danni, conversations for navigating holistic medicine and wellness. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Today's episode is sponsored by the upcoming collaborative retreat hosted by Dr. Harriet Lemberger-Shore and myself on May 3rd, 2025 at the classroom located at 755 Boardman Canfield Road, Suite C2, bottom floor in Boardman, Ohio, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This retreat will introduce you to the different aspects of collaborative care with breakout sessions on lifestyle medicine and vision setting, naturopathic medicine and nutrition, emotional healing and rebalancing, and the transcendence therapy, followed by activities and a cooking demo. A light breakfast will be provided, as well as lunch following the cooking demonstration. The cost for this retreat is just $65. Registration is open now, but seating is limited. Registration closes on April 25th. Call 330-758-9567 or text Collab Retreat to 234-308-8289 to reserve your seat today. Do you suffer from chronic conditions or autoimmune disorders? Are you looking for a natural approach to healing and overcoming challenges that come along with those conditions? Dr. Danni can help. As a board-certified naturopathic doctor, her client-centered approach can help you discover the underlying contributors to your symptoms, learn how to better support your body, and provide you with resources to help speed your healing. Schedule an assessment or ask for the free 10-minute Can You Help Me consult to find out how Dr. Danni can help you. Call 330-758-9567 to schedule today. That's 330-758-9567. Do you want to get out of the rut of what feels like a never-ending cycle of poor health and mental and emotional drain? Check out the Metamorphosis book series by Dr. Danielle McDuff, board-certified naturopathic doctor. This 3-part book series will take you through a transformational process to complete healing, helping you understand why you feel stuck in those cycles, help you develop habits and practices that support healing and growth, and to discover and maintain the tools needed to continually live in this new best version of you. The series walks you through discovery and healing on a mind, body, spirit level, guides you into growth and abundance, and finally helps you discover purpose and rebuild resilience. Book 1, Whole Again, dives into whole healing by focusing on discovery and discussing tools for achieving that healing. Whole Again is currently available at www.drdanninaturopath.com. This show was previously recorded. You can reach the show at drdanninaturopath@gmail.com. That's DRDANNI naturopath@gmail.com, or find the link in the show notes below. Now back to tea time. Here's Dr. Danni. Welcome back to all my tea timers. Before the break, our guest, Angela Nespeca, was talking with us about how she got into the field of holistic health coaching. And we talked a little bit about the different fad diets that have come and gone and some of the frustrations with those diets. Angela, before the break, we were talking a little bit about the different types of fad diets out there, or the latest and greatest diets on the market. And we were talking about the keto diet in particular. And you mentioned something about clients coming to you and saying, oh, well, my friend did this and they lost like 50 pounds. And I find that a lot of times the focus on nutrition is connected directly with weight. So talk to me a little bit about your approach on that and how you work with clients in that realm.
Well, I really don't look at nutrition as a weight issue. Being thin does not equate healthy. Your body is going to tell you what weight you should be at, and you need to listen to it. I know there are some people, myself included, that feel that I need to lose some pounds because that's where I feel more comfortable. But again, myself included, because I always forget this when I'm trying to work on my own health journey, that thin does not equate healthy. It's how I'm feeling. Am I able to move comfortably? Am I able to exercise comfortably? What am I eating throughout the day? But more so, what are you thinking about? How is everything else in your life? And that's when I say we approach it as a holistic way, it is everything. Working with me, I'm going to talk to you about some things that you might not want to talk about. I want to know how your finances are. I want to know how is your spirituality, what's going on in that world, what's going on with your relationships. A lot of times we see people who are married and they don't have a great relationship with their husband. So they go home, or they don't go home and they stay at the office, or they go, work out with their friends, or they go to the bar. Well, that's not good mindset. That's not thinking as holistically as you should. As when you are happy in your relationship, a lot of people tend to gain a little bit more weight. Again, I'm not saying that means that you're unhealthy. Maybe that's your body's way of saying, hey, I feel good at this weight. This is how I want to function. And you need to listen to that. But if you're unhappy in your relationship and you're eating Snickers or you're drinking at the bar all the time, something's going on there. Please don't misunderstand me. I'm not telling anybody, oh, if you're unhappy, leave your husband. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you need to look within yourself, find out what is keeping you from being happy. Why are you unhappy? Why are you eating a bag of chips every night instead of cooking yourself a meal, or cooking you and your husband a meal, or you and your kids a meal? What's going on? I look at everything. I think that people forget that what you're thinking also, it creeps out into everything else in your life. And people need to really hone in on that.
That's a great point. So much of what I do falls on that same line, where if you're manifesting a particular symptom, we need to not just look at what's going on physically, but we also need to look at the mental and emotional part of that, because we are mind, body, spirit, and you can't separate those no matter how hard society wants us to try. They are interconnected. And especially, so I tell my clients that, your weight is not an indicator of your health. And so we're going to focus on health, and then any excess weight that you don't need, your body will shed on its own. And so that sounds like that's very similar to your approach.
Yes, it is very similar, because your body, again, is going to tell you how it feels. If you're carrying a little bit more weight and you're exercising, you have to hone in on where are you carrying that weight. And sometimes bodies adjust. I feel like I'm carrying a little too much weight, and I think my body's just adjusting to everything that's going on in life. A lot of times, and I think a lot of people don't understand this, is that your body holds on to things, and it will protect you and protect certain organs, or your heart or your liver or whatever is happening from certain things. So when you're holding on to some weight, you need to, I guess, look into what do you need to release to lose that excess baggage.
Yeah, that's a great point. I noticed very early on in my career, particularly working with people from an emotional standpoint, is that people who struggled the most to lose weight were the people who were also dealing with emotional traumas, emotional wounds that hadn't been healed. And so they were kind of creating like a buffer or a cushion for themselves against that emotional pain. And once we started to work through that and help them to get a little more balanced, the weight started coming off, so it wasn't just the dietary changes. So that's a really great point, and kind of segues us into talking about how you work with your clients. So can you walk us through like a typical first appointment and then maybe a couple of follow-ups?
Okay. First thing we do is a health history. So you can do that. We can go through it when we're sitting face to face. You could fill it out and then bring it to me. But this health history, that first appointment is about 2 hours, hour and a half maybe. I want to know it all. There is not anything in there that you cannot tell me that I don't want to know. I want to know what you ate as a child, your exercise activity as a child. I want to know how your relationship is, if you have one, how your relationship is if you have kids. I want to know what that is. I want to know the relationship with your parents. I want to know your parents' activity and how you were brought up. Did you go for walks, or did you sit in front of the TV? What did you do? I want to know when you felt your issues started. Did you feel your issues started once you were in high school or out of high school, in college, in your relationship now? When do you feel your issues started? So they really have to think, and they have to look within to see what was going on in my life. When did this start? Sometimes that's hard, which is why I like them to do it when they're at home and they're in private and they don't have to sit there like I'm putting them on the spot. Like, when did this start? I want to know exactly what happened, what you were feeling. What did you feel when you ate? When you got up in the morning and you were going to school and you ate breakfast? How did you feel? Do you remember how you felt? So those are things that they need to look at. How I work with them, the next few appointments, I have them do a food journal. I know sometimes people don't want to do a food journal. And when they say, oh, I had a roast and some potatoes. No, well, what kind of potatoes? Because that matters. Well, How was the roast cooked? I want to know. There's no information that you can give me that I'm going to say I don't need that, because I want to know it all. When I say I want to know it all, I truly mean that. When you went out to dinner and you go to Chili's, oh, I had some chips. Did you have some chips, or did you have a whole basket of chips and salsa? I need to know. I need to know how you're feeling when you ate that. Check back in with yourself. Check back in. You wrote it down, so check back in and say, an hour after I felt bloated, or I left dinner and I wasn't feeling that great. I had a headache. How did you feel the next day? Did your joints hurt? Were you swollen? Were you bloated? I need to know those things. So that's the next few appointments. We talk about your emotional levels. We talk about what you're eating. Were you exercising? If you go to church, did you go to church that week? Are you reading your Bible? If you told me that you read your Bible often, so are you still reading your Bible? Does that make you feel good? If it makes you feel good, why aren't you doing this? Those are some of the questions that I would ask them. And those are things that I want to know, because if something's making them feel good and they feel good or I went for a walk after I ate dinner, but I didn't go for a walk the last few days. Why not? What was going on that you didn't go for a walk? And how did you feel that you didn't go for a walk? How did you feel the next day? Did you have some clarity, or were you all brain fog and you just felt, oh, I just feel down in the dumps? Those are things that I want to know, because I'm looking at it all. And I like doing in-person appointments, because a lot of times they're saying things without even saying anything at all. Their body language tells me a whole lot, especially when I ask a question and then I can tell they'll cross their arms, they'll cross their legs, or they'll look away. I need to know I like to see that, because I want to know exactly what I need to hone in on. Oh, I noticed you don't really want to talk about that. You clammed up. I noticed you crossed your arms, or you turned away from me. What's going on? I'm not your therapist, but I'm your coach. I'm your health counselor. So if something's going on that is affecting your nutrition, I need to know. I want to know.
So is there anything, any particular niche that you tend to gravitate towards when you're working with clients? Like, who would be your ideal client?
A mom. I mean, doesn't really have to be married, but, a mom, maybe their kids are in school, so they're not sure what to do with their nutrition. They're busy. They are planning their kids' soccer schedules or their football schedules or dance and cheerleading. So they need healthy, easy meals to make. Busy moms. Those are the types of people that I would want to, because that's something that's me. So right. I can connect with them.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to be able to connect with someone who is, well, I don't want to say I'm not going to connect, but I would find it a little bit more challenging to connect with someone who is in college and they're, navigating the college realm and they're drinking all the time or going to bars and partying. That's something that I would find challenging for me to be able to help them, because that's not who I am now. So I guess that sounds like I don't want to work with them. I do. It's just I would find it a little bit more challenging, because that's not something that I know right now. I guess, I'm unfamiliar with it.
Okay. We have to take another short break to hear from our sponsors, but when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the misconceptions around working with holistic coaches and health coaches in general. So refill your cup and meet me back here in the parlor. We'll be right back. You're listening to Tea Time with Dr. Danni, conversations for navigating holistic medicine and wellness. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Do you suffer from chronic conditions or autoimmune disorders? Are you looking for a natural approach to healing and overcoming challenges that come along with those conditions? Dr. Danni can help. As a board-certified naturopathic doctor, her client-centered approach can help you discover the underlying contributors to your symptoms, learn how to better support your body, and provide you with resources to help speed your healing. Schedule an assessment or ask for the free 10-minute Can You Help Me consult to find out how Dr. Danni can help you. Call 330-758-9567 to schedule schedule today. That's 330-758-9567. Do you want to get out of the rut of what feels like a never-ending cycle of poor health and mental and emotional drain? Check out the Metamorphosis book series by Dr. Danielle McDuff, board-certified naturopathic doctor. This 3-part book series will take you through a transformational process to complete healing, helping you understand why you feel stuck in those cycles, help you develop habits and practices that support healing and growth, and to discover and maintain the tools needed to continually live in this new best version of you. The series walks you through discovery and healing on a mind, body, spirit level, guides you into growth and abundance, and finally helps you discover purpose and rebuild resilience. Book 1, Whole Again, dives into whole healing by focusing on discovery and discussing tools for achieving that healing. Whole Again is currently available at www.drdanninaturopath.com/shop. You're listening to Tea Time with Dr. Danni. This show was previously recorded. You can reach the show at drdanninaturopath@gmail.com. That's DRDANNI naturopath@gmail.com, or find the link in the show notes below. Now back to Tea Time. Here's Dr. Danni. Welcome back, my tea timers. I have topped off my cup of brew. I hope you have too. Before the break, Angela Nespeca, certified health coach, and I were discussing how she works with clients and what her particular niche is. Right, Angela, when we were talking before the interview, we discussed some of the stuff that we kind of hear, on the internet and from other people that tend to be this perception of your field. So let's talk a little bit about those misconceptions and maybe clear them up for our listeners. What are some of the things that you hear often, and what's the truth behind that?
That I'm going to smack the food out of their hands. The quote unquote bad food. That's not what I do at all. You're in charge. I am not in charge. I am not your dietitian. I am not going to give you a eating plan and say, here, eat this and call me in 2 weeks and tell me how you feel. We are really in depth. You are going to know all about yourself. You are going to be completely in tune with your body, and basically you're in charge. And I have to keep saying that because I don't think people understand that enough, that I am not telling you what to eat. You're telling me what to eat. And you're telling me what to eat by journaling everything that you're eating and then telling me how you feel. And then you're going to discover, oh, hey, you know what? I don't feel so good when I eat that. I think maybe I need to cut that out. I like when people have that revelation of, wow, hey, I don't think I really need dairy anymore. And I use that just as because it's one of the most common sensitivity issues that people have. So when they feel that they don't need to have the milk or the yogurt or any type of dairy, they have this like light bulb go off in their head saying, wow, I found that out on my own. Yeah, I didn't tell you that. Your body told you that. That comes from listening to your body. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, that's great. What else do you hear?
That they have to give up everything. That's a common one, that they have to give up everything. Well, I drink coffee every day and I don't want to give that up. Okay, that's great. Well, you don't have to give it up, but I am going to ask you how you drink your coffee. Are you drinking coffee, as in coffee that I have in front of me, or are you drinking a sugar-laden dessert disguised as coffee? Are you going to Starbucks and just getting a coffee with a little bit of cream, a little bit of sugar, or are you getting a latte filled with, 7 pumps of caramel and 4 pumps of vanilla? Those are the types of questions that I ask, and that's what they feel, I don't want to give up my coffee. Well, you don't have to. You don't have to give up eggs either. You don't have to give up milk. But I'm going to ask you how you're eating certain foods or how you're drinking certain foods. Another one is that I don't force them to do something that they're not comfortable with. If they don't eat breakfast, I'm not going to force you to eat breakfast. I can't force you to do something. I'm not going to put what I think that you should do. It's what you think you should do. If you don't feel good not eating breakfast, let's try something small. Let's try a banana. Let's try an apple. Try an apple with some peanut butter, a little nice healthy fat there. I'm not going to make you eat a full course meal that you're not comfortable with eating when that's just not something that you've done in the past.
Okay. Interesting. So how do you handle a client that is clearly showing indications that something is not serving them well and they don't want to give that up?
We have a conversation. I keep bringing it up. I'll know if they don't want to talk about it or if it's not serving them well, if they, their body language, that's why I like doing in person. If they keep skirting around the subject, I kind of bring it up in a gentle way. Like, I noticed you keep changing the subject when I bring up X, Y, and Z. Why is that? Can you tell me about that? And then we just have a conversation. If they're doing something, if they're having a Red Bull and a Snickers in the morning for breakfast, and they don't want to give that up. They are just hell-bent on, nope, this is what I'm doing. Why don't you try something for me? You said you have this paper in front of you saying that you told me you would have an open mind. Have an open mind. One morning, have a cup of green tea. Have a cup of green tea instead of the Red Bull and see how you feel. And then if you feel you need the Red Bull, then you have the Red Bull. Have that cup of green tea and maybe a banana or maybe an apple with some peanut butter instead of the Snickers. And I'm not saying that Snickers is bad. That's not it. But with that apple and peanut butter, you're going to get a whole ton of vitamins and minerals and fiber that you're just not going to get from the Snickers bar. Have an open mind. I'm not going to do something that you are completely uncomfortable with. I'm not going to make you do something. But for you to get the results from working with me, you're paying me. You're paying me to be your health coach. You're paying me for me to help you. You want to get the best out of it. You want to get the most out of it. Have an open mind.
That's a great point. We can't make anyone do anything. I know we said that earlier in the show. Like you just can't change what someone wants to do. I found this working with addicts. Like if that addict is not ready to give up their vice, whatever that vice is, they're not going to do it. No matter how much they know that it is harming them or not serving them, until they're ready, they won't do it. It's also an interesting dynamic for us as practitioners that we have to have those hard conversations with people and be like, okay, look, you have the right to make this choice, but here's what that choice is doing to you.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I was doing the health coaching course, the founder, Joshua Rosenthal, he's amazing. He was a smoker and he was coaching clients. So what he would do is he would change his shirt, go outside, smoke a cigarette, come back in, change his shirt, wash his hands, brush his teeth, and then coach some more clients. And he thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And that's the thing though. I'm not perfect either. I struggled with smoking and I gave that up and it was very, very hard. So I have to insert myself into their situations with their vices. Cigarettes for a very long time was a vice for me. And I am not giving this up. This is the why I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't do other bad things. So I'm going to do this. And I'm like, what are you doing? No. But see, while helping clients and their healing journey, I can heal myself too. And that is just something so magical.
Yeah. And it's interesting how you put that about helping yourself while you're helping other people. The interesting thing that I've found my entire career about teaching is that I have to keep growing as an individual in order to continue helping people and meeting them where they're at. You also mentioned about like people giving up their vices. And I think this is something that's really common. I know I see it a lot in my practice where you have a client that comes in and they're like, I've made all these changes. I'm eating really healthy. I'm super healthy. And then you kind of get into their background and you get into what they're doing and you're like, yeah, you've come a long way. That's like some major progress. And this still needs work because it's not serving you well. And that's really hard for people to hear sometimes.
It is. And it's hard as a health coach to hear from myself too. There are things that I'll do or that I want to do. And my husband says, really though? Really? You're going to do this? You're going to do X, Y, Z when you know. So it kind of brings you back. So, and that's a part of what I do is that I help bring them back. I help see within themselves, like, come on, like, it's like a mirror, like, hey, look at this. This is what it looks like. And it doesn't look good. It's not looking good for you because you're not happy and you're not living your fullest life and into where you want to be.
Yeah, that's really important. Okay, so yeah, let's go a little more in depth in that. So can you give us an example, maybe from your own life or from working with a client on a situation where you had like, hey, I see XYZ and this is the result of those choices and those actions. And then how do you handle it? Or how did you handle it?
Well, with me, it was for smoking. I wanted to coach, and my nutrition was on point, and I was eating all the things that I knew made me feel good at that time. And I started walking, and I love to walk. I could walk with the best of them. They need to have like a marathon for just walking because I would win it. Because it's just so much fun. But I don't, with me smoking, it was, I'd go for a walk, and then I'd come home and I'd light up a cigarette. And I'm like, then I'd have trouble breathing when I would go for my walks, or I would be in the woods and I'm soaking up all the good stuff from the forest and all like, they consider it forest bathing, and I'm breathing it all in. And then I go home and I sit on my front porch and I have a cigarette, and I'm like, well, that's kind of counterproductive, right? And I didn't, at the time, I was working at a health food store. So I didn't go on breaks and go have a cigarette because I wasn't going to do that in front of, if a customer would walk in that I talked to. I made sure I didn't smell like cigarettes. I made sure I brushed my teeth and I washed my hands and I changed my shirt. Again, like Joshua said, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? It's not serving me. I'm not proud of the fact that I'm a smoker. I mean, if I was sitting in front of someone that was a customer at the health food store that I worked at, and we were at a restaurant and I was having, a beverage or a cocktail, I wouldn't be embarrassed by that because I'm not a fall down drunk. I'm just having a cocktail with my husband, but I'm embarrassed at the fact that I smoke. And I didn't smoke around people. I don't like smoking. I didn't like smoking around my children. I didn't smoke in the car with my children. I didn't smoke in my house. When there were certain people around me, I would go to Bible study. I would never tell, they knew I smoked, or at least I thought they did, but I would never go outside and have a cigarette. It was an embarrassment to me. Right. So then why am I doing it? I'm not proud of it. Why am it was stupid. Like, okay, just give it up. Just give it up. And it's very hard. I smoked for a really long time. It was something I enjoyed. Go outside. My favorite time to smoke is around Halloween, fall time, where it's like brisk. It's like sweatshirt and jeans weather, and you're outside and you're carving pumpkins. You're having a bonfire. That was my favorite time. I still miss it. It's been years and I still miss it. And I smell it and I'm like, oh my gosh. Or I'll watch a movie and I'm like, oh, they're smoking. Robert De Niro is the best smoker. I don't know what it is, but he's the best smoker. The way he holds a cigarette, the way he inhales it. And I know if I were to go and have a hit of a cigarette, it would be gross. I don't miss that part. I don't miss the smell. I miss how it was in my head.
Right. You miss the emotional connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think that's really important for changing any habit, whether it's around food, whether it's around lifestyle, whether it's, no matter what it's around, it's really about understanding the whole connection for the person, right? It's not just a physical thing that you do. It's not just a habit that you're doing to do it. Even with the addictive quality of it, the reason that we get addicted to things is because it ameliorates something else that's going on for us. And so particularly with things like alcohol and smoking and drugs, those are like the go-to for people to numb. But also there's that emotional connection that you were talking about where you're like, I know it's not good for me. It's not doing anything healthy. Like, I don't feel good when I do this. And I'm super embarrassed about it. Like, emotionally, it doesn't feel good either. But there's something there that just drives me to be like, yeah, I want to do that. Right. And so exploring where that comes from then becomes part of that healing journey.
100%.
Yeah. That brings us to the uncomfortable truth segment of our show, the part of the show where we share some truths that might be hard to hear, and even might make you a little uncomfortable, but hopefully encourage your creative problem-solving juices to get flowing and empower you as you continue on your personal wellness journey. Your team has to tell you the hard-to-hear stuff in order for you to grow. You cannot, and we do not, grow in the comfortable and easy places. We need adversity. We need challenge to keep us moving forward, learning and growing and becoming the next best version of ourselves. I have to take one final break, but when we come back, Angela's going to share with us the best place to get started if you haven't started your wellness journey, or even if you have and you're just not real sure where to go from here. So stick around. We'll be right back after the break.
You're listening to Tea Time with Dr. Danni, conversations for navigating holistic medicine and wellness. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after the break. Do you suffer from chronic conditions or autoimmune disorders? Are you looking for a natural approach to healing and overcoming challenges that come along with those conditions? Dr. Danni can help. As a board-certified naturopathic doctor, her client-centered approach can help you discover the underlying contributors to your symptoms, learn how to better support your body, and provide you with resources to help speed your healing. Schedule an assessment or ask for the free 10-minute Can You Help Me consult to find out how Dr. Danni can help you. Call 330-758-9567 to schedule today. That's 330-758-9567. Do you want to get out of the rut of what feels like a never-ending cycle of poor health and mental and emotional drain? Check out the Metamorphosis book series by Dr. Danielle McDuff, board-certified naturopathic doctor. This 3-part book series will take you through a transformational process to complete healing, helping you understand why you feel stuck in those cycles, help you develop habits and practices that support healing and growth, and to discover and maintain the tools needed to continually live in this new best version of you. The series walks you through discovery and healing on a mind, body, spirit level, guides you into growth and abundance, and finally helps you discover purpose and rebuild resilience. Book 1, Whole Again, dives into whole healing by focusing on discovery and discussing tools for achieving that healing. Whole Again is currently available at www.drdanninaturopath.com/shop. You're listening to Tea Time with Dr. Danni. This show was previously recorded. You can reach the show at drdanninaturopath@gmail.com. That's DRDANNI naturopath@gmail.com, or find the link in the show notes below. Now back to Tea Time. Here's Dr. Danni. Welcome back, Tea Timers. Before the break, we were talking about misconceptions about health coaches and other wellness coaches. So before the break, we were talking a little bit about how you work with clients, what that looks like. Tell us a little bit more about that process.
Well, it starts with the health history, as I said before. That's the longer appointment. But I also ask, what are their goals? What is it that they want to achieve? Why did they decide to work with a health coach? Do they want to create better habits? Do they want to cultivate an exercise program? What is it that they're trying to achieve? Just general health? I also want to make it clear that health is not the destination. And I think that's what people are like, well, if I could lose 50 pounds, then I'll be good. Well, then what? Then you're going to go back to eating the way you were? No, you're going to just build on top of that. Health is a journey. That's not the destination. And it's a beautiful journey, and it's frustrating, but well, it can be frustrating, but it's great because you get to learn about yourself and you get to learn about what is going to serve you and what's not going to serve you. We meet twice a month, and that, for about an hour. I will block off an hour and a half, but sometimes I let them tell me how much time they need. We can talk once a week for phone calls. If they feel that they need some extra help, they can email me, they can text me, but I'm not going to stand there and smack the bad food out of your hand. I'm not going to tell you, you need to do X, Y, Z, and that's it, and that's all you should do. You get to tell me. You are in charge. You get to lead the way. I am here to assist you and to help you and to make you see some things that you might not want to see, or that's there and you're just kind of pushing to the side. For instance, if your nutrition's on point and you're feeling good, but you tend to keep gaining weight, well, and I know I kind of cringe when I say it, but what are your calories? How many calories are you eating? And that is an eye opener too. When I have them, if it's free or if they want to download a calorie app, a calorie tracker, just to see how many you're getting, because you will be very surprised as how much you're eating, how much of something that you're eating. And when I downloaded it, I was kind of floored. I was like, wow, really? I'm eating that much? Something as small as just overpouring, the half and half in your coffee. You're getting some extra calories there. How much peanut butter are you eating when you have your apple? Is it a heaping tablespoon? Is it several tablespoons? Because that makes a difference. So those little things that I, ask them, would they be comfortable doing this? Is this something that you want to do? So if it's weight loss is their goal, I think the calorie tracker will help them. Again, it is a tool. And if that is something that's a trigger point for someone, then absolutely not. We're not going to do it. You don't have to weigh yourself. Some people with the scale, it is a trigger point. I know for me, it's a trigger point because I see that number on the scale and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. If it's something, if someone was a borderline anorexic and they're like, I don't want to fall back into those habits, then absolutely not. We're not going to do it. We need to make sure I'm holding that space for them, that if that is like something that they cannot do because of something that happened in the past, then we don't do it.
Right. So the process that you outlined there was really about, number one, goal setting, right? So this is a big pet peeve of mine that so many practitioners, even holistic practitioners, aren't very good at setting goals, and that the client is in control of those goals. So that was really cool. The other thing that I found really interesting, because I haven't seen this with a lot of other coaches. The majority of the coaches, I would say all of the coaches up to this point that I have spoken with or talked to about how their program works, it is very much program centric and even very product centric. So let's touch on that a little bit. Talk to me about your approach to products and how that works within your program.
They give me a list of everything that they're on and why they're taking it. Now, if it is something that is prescribed by a doctor, that is something I don't even touch. You tell me what you're on and that's great. And if you feel that you don't need to be on it, that is something that you need to talk with your doctor about. I do not treat. I do not diagnose. I do not prescribe meds. I'm very well aware of what my scope of practice is, and it is not that. If they want to take supplements, nutritional supplements, I can direct them in supplements that I know that have a good, rating or, a good name behind it. But I don't tell them that, yes, you have to take X, Y, and Z. I know a lot of, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, but I know a lot of health coaches out there on Instagram and on TikTok are saying, oh, take this product and then, don't call me for the next, unless you're taking the product, I don't want to hear from you.
Right.
I'm not like that. If you want to take some nutritional products, because a lot of times they are there to bridge the gap of things that you're not getting. We know our soil isn't what it used to be. So you might have to take some minerals or some other nutritional supplements to help, but it is not required. And I don't force that on you. I also go grocery shopping with you. I help people read labels. Again, our world is very, very backwards, because it says whole grain on a box of Lucky Charms. Yeah.
But it's not.
It's right. Like there's a lot of sugar. There's a lot of food dyes. There's a lot of things that we don't want in there. So I help you read some labels. Some confusing labels, pasture raised, cage free, things like that. We need to know what those labels mean. And when they go grocery shopping, I want them to go grocery shopping like they go grocery shopping. Don't worry about me. I'm following you around. And then we'll go back and I'll say, okay, instead of this product, look at the ingredients on here. How about we go here and look at this product? And that's another misconception. And I have to touch back on that, is that they think that they have to throw everything out that's in their pantry, and they don't. You're going to eat whatever food you eat. And then your body's going to tell you, no, I don't want that no more. And if you decide to throw it out, you throw it out, or you can continue to consume it until it's gone. But this is going to be at little cost to you. The only cost that I have is that you're paying me for my service, and that's it. There is no, you have to buy, some sort of nutritional supplement. You have to buy all new food. You have to buy all organic. I meet you where you're at. So if your budget does not allow for a 100% organic diet, that's where we talk about it. That's where we talk. What do you eat most? Do you eat a lot of eggs? If you're eating a lot of eggs, I would encourage you to buy the pasture raised eggs. If you're eating a lot of bread, or if you're eating a lot of meats, let's go for the grass-fed beef. Let's go for the pasture-raised chicken. Let's go for the organic wheat. If you like making your own sweets, let's go for something that is going to satisfy that sweet tooth. I'm not taking anything away from you, but I'm going to satisfy that sweet tooth in a way that's going to crowd out those sugar cravings.
Right. That's great. And I have a similar policy where, I have that 80-20 rule, right? I tell all my clients, nobody does this 100%. Like, I don't do it 100%. That's not realistic. Our society is far too food-based socially for us to ever completely cut everything out. Also, it might be appropriate for you to completely eliminate these things for a time. Most people can't do that cold turkey.
Right.
So we have to work up to that. And I tell people, here are some things that I think would be most appropriate for you to focus on really getting rid of, right? Like ingesting the toxins. If you're a smoker and you're having responses that indicate that that's not helping you, it's not helping you. We know this. Okay, that's something we need to focus on. Caffeine is another one. We know that in spite of the little blips from certain studies that we get summaries of in an ad, that there's no real nutritional value to caffeine and that it actually does so much damage to the body, stripping us of hydration and nutrients. So looking at these things that we know are not serving us well and saying, okay, look, if we're going to get you back in balance, if you're going to heal, then we have to look at these things that are counterproductive to that and focus on that in a way that is not overwhelming you and is helping you to reach that goal, whatever that original goal was.
Right.
And so what you were saying about you're not going to tell anybody not to do something, but we're going to talk about how it's benefiting you and how it's not. And let's look for alternatives that are going to maybe serve to ameliorate that craving while still supporting you reaching that goal. That's so important in all the work that we do as holistic providers and as just as coaches in general. You know, I do think that doctors, you know, the word doctor comes from the word teacher. Like, it is our job to teach our clients how to listen to their body and how to respond to it appropriately. And so that approach is fantastic. Talk to us about where to start. Like, how do you get into this? Whether whether that's, starting from scratch, or I've been kind of working on this a little bit and these are some changes that I've made. And talk to me about how that works within your program.
How it works when they start working with me or before they call me?
Both.
Well, they just pick up the phone and call me or fire up their email and send me an email and I will talk to them. We have a conversation. It's just a conversation, and you need to ask yourself what's important to you at that time. If someone comes to me and they're 300 pounds and they're saying, I just need to lose a little bit of weight so I can go to the park with my kids. Okay, I'm going to meet you where you're at. I'm not going to overwhelm you. I'm going to do all the same things that I do, the health history and all that. And you're still going to work with me twice a month. You can still call me and email me, but your goals might be different. And then if you decide, it's a 3 to 6 month program. So if you don't want to commit to 6 months, let's do 3 months and then see where we're at. I don't want to overwhelm someone. I don't want to overwhelm someone where they start working with me and then they're like, you know what? Nope, I'm done. It's too much for me. I don't want to do that. I want you to be healthy. I want you to go to the park and run around with your kids. So if just losing 15 pounds is your goal or to create some better habits, or, you're hearing all about Whole Foods and I don't know where to start with that. Okay. You tell me. You are completely in charge. So whatever your goal is, that's what we're going to reach towards. And then we're going to do the steps and we're going to do the work to get you there. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Even the 15 pounds, that might not be easy, but is it going to be worth it?
Right.
And if it's worth it, then we're going to do it. If running on the playground with your kids is something that you are striving towards, then my goodness, that is what we're going to do. And I'm going to work my damnedest to get you there.
Yeah. And that's a great point too about goals, right? The goal is not the 15 pounds. The goal is what losing that 15 pounds means to that person.
Yes.
Right? The goal is not, I want to feel better. The goal is what feeling better looks like for you in your lifestyle and how that impacts how you're living and your quality of life. That's so important. That's a great point. It has been so great having you on the show. We're almost at the end of our time. So tell our listeners how they can reach you.
They can reach me by calling me, 330-559-5797. You can call me. You can text me. I'm very responsive. You can email me. It's nespeca@yahoo.com. And the Nespeca is with 2 A's because it's Nespeca Angela, but nespeca@yahoo.com. And then, you can just, that's the only way. Right now, I don't have a website. But I'm working on it. It's just something that has been put on the back burner. Call or text or email.
Fantastic. And we will have all of that information in our show notes as well, so people can reach out to you. Angela, again, I am so grateful that you took the time to sit down and talk with me. I learned so much when I do these interviews. So it was really great to learn about a coaching program that is not so one size fits all or focused on products, and just a lot of great information for me and for our listeners. Thank you again so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Today's episode is sponsored by the upcoming collaborative retreat hosted by Dr. Harriet Lemberger-Shore and myself on May 3rd, 2025 at the classroom located at 755 Boardman Canfield Road, Suite C2, bottom floor in Boardman, Ohio, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. This retreat will introduce you to the different aspects of collaborative care with breakout sessions on lifestyle medicine and vision setting, naturopathic medicine and nutrition, emotional healing and balancing, and the transcendence therapy, followed by activities and a cooking demo. A light breakfast will be provided, as well as lunch following the cooking demonstration. The cost for this retreat is just $65. Registration is open now, but seating is limited. Registration closes on April 25th. Call 330-758-9567 or text Collab Retreat to 234-308-8289 to reserve your seat today. We have come to the moment of clarity part of the show where I share thoughts designed to inspire you to think critically and empower you to take action. Today, I'm quoting Socrates, who said, "The secret of change is to focus all of your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." Remember that every step you take towards your goals is taking you towards the new life, a new you, and a better future. That's it for today's show. Please join us back here in the parlor in 2 weeks for our next episode, where we will be talking with Reiki Master Reverend Joe Thornton. He's going to walk us through all of the things you ever wanted to know about Reiki and how that therapy might benefit you. You can get more information on me, Dr. Danielle McDuff, at www.drdanninaturopath.com. including upcoming workshops and speaking dates on the Education tab. You can also purchase swag and books at the website at www.drdanninaturopath.com/shop. Go to www.musslerchiropractic.com to book an appointment with me or any of our providers, or call 330-758-9567. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram under the handle at Phoenix Dr. Danni. That's PhoenixDranni. And join the Tea Time Facebook group at Tea Time with Dr. Danni on Facebook, or check the show notes for all the links and contact information. That's my time for today. Until next time, my lovelies, remember, be kind to each other and be kind to yourselves. The information and views expressed in this show are from a naturopathic viewpoint, and the content is educational information regarding the topic discussed. The underlying cause of any condition for any person may have some overlap with the information provided in this show, but will always be more nuanced than any bit of general information and require you to dig deeper with your team to discover the full cause for you as an individual. The information in this show is not intended to diagnose or treat any ailments.